everyone. Welcome to the 10th episode of Join Us at the Table. I'm Emily Petermann and work for the Center for Food Innovation and Entrepreneurship.
And my name is Brandon Sage, and I also work at the Center for Food Innovation and Entrepreneurship.
Today's special guest is Sumana Shesthra, the founder of both Carpool Kathmandu and Medication for Nepal. She currently has a private practice in her home country of Nepal as a management consultant and executive coach. Welcome, Sumana. Would you mind telling us about yourself and the sustainable development work you have done in Nepal and what sparked you to start your own private practice?
Sure. Hi, Emily. Hi, Brandon. Nice to meet you guys again virtually. My main reason for doing Carpool Kathmandu or Medication for Nepal or other initiatives that I've led has been primarily to basically develop management capacity of people I've worked with. I mostly work with young people, and one of the things that have stuck really close to my heart and from my experience being back in Nepal after a long time away from the country has been the thing that really keeps a country like Nepal from developing is the need or the lack of management skills or the new management learnings. And fusing it together with the new knowledge that is being created and combining the learnings and know-how that's being developed in other parts of the world with and contextualizing it for Nepal. So to answer your question on the sustainable development, my biggest focus area has always been to train the people that I'm working with on the management practices through various initiatives and training program.
Awesome. I think that's a very thoughtful and effective approach or mindset. So maybe we could get into a little bit the impact of COVID-19. So would you mind telling us, maybe just providing a little context for people that don't understand at all sort of some of the most current critical issues that Nepal is facing right now?
Sure. COVID has hit us slowly, but now it's picking up really fast. There have been a couple of cases of community transmission, but mostly we have imported cases. We've got, almost 28% of our GDP is made up by remittance money. So a lot of people are coming back. And as our bordering neighboring country, India, shut down and its economic turmoil took a hit, a lot of the migrant workers have actually walked back, like on land, to Nepal. So most of our cases are cases of due to people coming back with COVID. We've got, I think, 1 or 2 cases of community transmission. We are at a very critical stage that we need to manage and make sure we don't have these hotspots and we don't have a massive community transmission. Having said that, from a preparedness perspective, Nepal needs to do a lot more in terms of improving its quarantine centers and testing strategy. We are really behind the PCR testing numbers. Thus far, we've done about 233,000 tests only. That comes to about 8,000 something per million population. So that's really low. We need to improve that. And we also need to have a leadership that takes it seriously. Our prime minister went on record to say it's just like flu, just sneeze it away, have like turmeric and ginger and it'll improve everything. So we need to have a more cohesive strategy and a plan that does not undermine COVID-19's impact. The remittance has really gone down as a lot of remittance money has dried up. The tourism has taken a major hit. There is the direct impact of COVID. Nepal was under lockdown for over 90 days. We are still in lockdown. We don't have free travel. So it's been creating a lot of hardships for people.
Thank you, Sumana. I cannot imagine what you guys are going through, and the government, we are experiencing the same inconsistency here as well. And I cannot imagine the scale that's happening there. And are there any parallels that you see between this tragedy of COVID-19 and the 2015 earthquake, and how the government is responding and how the people in Nepal are responding?
So earthquake and COVID are very different in its nature and how people are looking at it as well. With earthquake, you had a physical thing that was happening in front of you and a physical experience, right? So it's very easy to know and to feel the fear and take precautions. Whereas with COVID, we're fighting an invisible enemy. So it's very difficult to always keep that in mind, always have our mask on and not gather in a large group. So it's definitely very different. Earthquake was very localized. We had other parts of the countries that were not experiencing earthquakes that really stepped up and supported the parts that were experiencing earthquake that had fallen roofs. So we could help each other a lot during earthquake. And during COVID, it's very tough. So one of the initiatives that I started post earthquake during the blockade was a ride sharing initiative called Carpool Kathmandu. And it was very easy to get people, let's help each other out, let's give rides if there is an emergency. So just get up in the middle of the night and let's drive this person to the hospital. But now you don't want to be the carrier transmitting COVID to the patient who's already sick. So it's a bit tough. But having said that, the parallels between these two disasters has been the amount of engagement through young people and through civil society. A lot of volunteerism is happening. A lot happened during earthquake. A lot of people stepped up, organized themselves, raised funds, and went about helping people. And during COVID as well, a lot of civil society came together to give Nyano Swagat, which is warm welcome, to the migrant workers who were walking, who were in the bus for 18 hours, by giving them food, water, and some ration. And also within the city, the daily wage workers were being helped by these really kind souls. So that's the really good parallel I see between the two disasters.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear that people are stepping up and helping their neighbors and community members. It's really important, especially during these trying times. So I guess now we're going to segue a little bit more towards food and agriculture. So we know that a large portion of the country is engaged in farming or food-related practices in Nepal.
Mm-hmm.
So we're wondering if you could speak to sort of the agriculture industry and food systems, and maybe what sort of innovation has come during these times to help people get access to food in a sanitary manner.
During the lockdown, it was very hard for the farmers to get their produce out because the markets were virtually shut down. And there were a lot of news coming out where farmers were just having to just plow away their harvest and not be able to sell, primarily because there was no system set up in which people could sell and buy in a safe manner. What government did allow is government allowed large stores to deliver, and that provided some relief in some marketplace. Slowly, a lot of young people, again, they have come up with methods and ways to directly connect the farmers with the consumers. There are a lot of grocery delivery startups that have come up, some delivering from different, some delivering like organic produce, some working on very specific, let's say, meat. So that kind of work has picked up, that has enabled farmers to access the market. And one thing that I'm also seeing around is farmers themselves have started to come together, rent a truck and bring their produce and literally open up a pop-up grocery store in the middle of community. So that's happening. In terms of sanitary, hygienic, and making sure COVID doesn't get transmitted. There are a couple of startups that have come up that are offering training and products and giving people information on how to make sure they can stay safe. But besides that, uh, we still have a long way to go from coming up with really well developed protocols, tested protocols to make sure we are not transmitting while we are supporting the farmers and the consumers.
That's great that young people are thinking of innovative solutions to combat this hunger issue, though. And those are probably systems that could last even after this pandemic. So those are great startup companies. And with that being said, do you think that these startups are coming out of this pandemic? Do you think that there's anything else that can be learned from this? And how the countries and global community can be more resilient and prepared for other tragedies in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. So one other thing that is being done in Nepal is there is a strong push by influencers, by the MPs, that we should start doing terrace farming, which is basically growing your vegetables in your rooftop gardens as much as you can and really learning. I've picked up some skills, and I know a lot of my friends have picked up. I guess lockdown has also given us some time that we could utilize that we always wanted to do. I think that is probably an important step to know where your food comes from, how it's produced, and understand what goes into making it, right? Producing it. I would say that's the first step. And rooftop gardening definitely teaches us the value the farmers put in, the effort the farmers put in to give us our food on the table. And we're also getting very aware about what it means to think about supply chain and who are all the entities involved in connecting the farmers and consumers. So this pandemic has definitely made us really rethink all those linkages and really ask those questions. Are they strong enough? Are they resilient enough? And what can be done to strengthen it? I think Nepal as a country is learning. Farmers are definitely getting smarter about organizing themselves, renting, and then getting their products out. I think globally as well, I think that's very important to know, to be able to trace the supply chain and strengthen it where possible.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and I think that's very important to know on a large scale. So, as we're kind of wrapping up here, is there any final remarks or anything that you maybe we haven't asked, or something else that you would like to share with the viewers today?
Yeah, so I think one thing that this COVID has really, I guess, put it out for all of us to relearn is we are really as strong as our weakest link. If one part of the world is going to suffer due to this virus, it's probably going to spread to all of us, and we need to really take care of each other. And until we do that, we as like human race are always going to have these perils of either natural disaster, climate change, another pandemic. So we really need to think outside our country's borders. I mean, these are man-made anyways, and what we're facing is Mother Nature. Really, this pandemic has brought to surface the importance of taking care of each other, and being compassionate towards one another. So I would say that's probably one of the biggest lessons I hope everybody takes from this pandemic.
Thank you for sharing that. I cannot agree more, and I hope as a world we come together. Well, Sumana, thank you so much for taking the time and having us interview and pick your brain. And we hope you stay safe and healthy. And we know that you're going to make an impact in Nepal and help strengthen the system. And we're excited to see what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.